The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
All right. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to this webinar we have for IN.FORM coaches. We're glad you're here. My name is Terry Gibson. I'm the host, calling to you and doing some fun things from good old Utah, where it's awfully chilly outside. It's get to be winterish fall. We're glad you're here with us, but we're having a good time all the same. It's very, very nice and warm when we talk with good people involved with IN.FORM. So again, I'm Terry Gibson. I'm working with the southern states as a regional sales manager, but also sharing with you good information in regards to our IN.FORM program. And today's topic, we've got some fun things here. We're talking about 3 tips you need to succeed with IN.FORM. And actually, before I really get started into this really heavy, I want to have you, if you could, show by the raise of hands. There's a little hand over there if you can actually hear my voice. If you can, great. Raise your hand over there to the side. Okay, wonderful. I see a few hands being raised. Awesome, awesome. This is wonderful. Okay, well, good. We'll start to begin here as we move forward with our slides. Hopefully you can see the screen as well. We've got a few things here on the screen, but also on the side panel of your webinar screen, you have a spot where it says questions. I want you to feel free to ask any questions and things that you have there, because we do have 3 awesome guests that will be sharing some insights with you on the phone call. I've had opportunity to meet with them in various forms and fashions in different venues and conversations, and these 3, I tell you, if you were to ask any 3 some important things, these would be the 3 to ask. And I've heard them really talk about some good things as far as groups, IN.FORM successes, and their stories. So as they begin to converse with you, feel free to write down some questions, some thoughts, put them over there to the sidebar, and toward the end of our call, we'll go through some of those to be able to answer them more for you. We want this to be more of a practicum for you, to make sure you have your questions answered so you can move forward with IN.FORM. So this will be very, very fun. Just to let you know, just real quickly, before we jump into those presenters, we do have the new online IN.FORM certification, and we've had rave reviews thus far, individuals getting on there and being certified. I just want to reinforce to you that we do have this available, certified basically from anywhere in the country and any time of the day or night. You can get there and be informed and get your certification. You, again, yourselves have been certified, but those people that you're working with, have them be certified as well. They're recorded trainings of good videos and things that are happening by expert coaches, the doctors in the field, and they're just really, really awesome programs. So the site to get that is www.informcoaches.com. Feel free to reach out and to get your people certified as coaches awfully quickly. It'd be fun for them. The other thing I want to share with you is this. Starting actually October 24th, yesterday, we had this special deal, or just basically more for you. Would you like a second bio-tracker? We've had many IN.FORM coaches reach out to us and say, we'd love to have a second one, or mine's been damaged and on my accord, I'd love to get another one. Here's a way you can do that. You can actually, exclusive offer here for coaches, but this week, between the 24th and 31st, from Monday to Monday, you can actually purchase another bio-tracker that's branded with IN.FORM and usable for any of your retail locations, practitioner locations, or just for you and your IN.FORM group. So feel free to get that. It'd be a great little deal. We don't know how long we'll have it. We just want to test the idea of saying, let's offer the bio-tracker to existing coaches primarily, and see what the response rate is. Hopefully that's something that you may want to use as we go forward here with the IN.FORM program. So some really cool things. We found that people have these in their locations, and as guests come to their store, their practitioner outlet, they use the bio-tracker, and then they gain some better insights on which products to use to maybe reduce some of those numbers that are on there. So that's been pretty fun. That's been fun to see. So use that there again. The exclusive is just this month, or this week, October 24th through the 31st. Really good things there. Okay. Well, without any further ado, I do want to bring on our first presenter to share some good thoughts with us. And again, these are individuals in the field that are doing great with their coaching and IN.FORM groups. And I asked them just to share 3 important tips for success with doing IN.FORM. And our first guest I'd like to ask on is Ms. Kimberly Cassidy, hailing from the great city there of Cleveland, Ohio. Kimberly, are you there?
I'm here.
Great, Kimberly. You may want to turn down your computer speaker. I think you had some echo going on. But
It's just my phone.
Is it? That's it? Okay. Well, great. We'll go ahead.
I know. I don't know how to fix that.
I'm not sure. We'll see if we can work through the echo.
I know. Is it that bad still?
Oh, no, it's great.
Better, right?
Okay. You did it right.
I moved.
All right, go ahead and talk to us,
Okay.
Kimberly.
All right, just like I said before, go Tribe. We are from Cleveland, Ohio here, so we are so excited. It's an awesome day for us here in the city. So before I get started, I just wanted to emphasize the fact that I do all of my IN.FORM classes out of my home. I don't have a storefront or anything like that. And I actually do run 2 different 13-week cycle programs. I have some people who do 2 programs back-to-back, so I don't ever want them to be bored or go through the same exact class with me. So I do run 2 different 13 cycles. So everything that I am going to talk about today doesn't always happen in one 13-week session. It is kind of spread out between the 2. So I did ask some of the people that are in my classes what their favorite parts were or what makes them keep coming back to the classes, and so that helped me in what I was going to tell you guys today. So the first part is called support, basically, and we say that it's their Dr. Phil moment. Everyone gets a Dr. Phil moment every week, so we're looking at what is the good, the bad, and ugly for the week. Everyone is able to share, and they're able to talk and express how they're feeling, and by them doing that, they're becoming friends with each other. So sometimes I have to get them to kind of stop talking so we can get down to business every week. But they really do like that. And something that I've emphasized when we are having our Dr. Phil moments is that I'm making them end with something positive. I'm always trying to emphasize the positive, and I want them to say something that it is good for their body to remember. So every organ and system in your body has an emotion that coordinates with it, and so we always want to emphasize the good and not end on the lower, sadder notes, okay? And then I'm always telling people that we want to be people. We want to be planners. Our whole job here with this IN.FORM is to plan our meals, plan for what we're going to eat if we're eating out, where we're going to go at parties, things like that. And that also goes into being a preparer. We need to be prepared for what we're walking into. We need to be prepared every week for how our meals are going to go, or if something goes off track. I will tell you, last week I ended up getting sick, but being a prepared person with meals, I was able to feed my kids even though I'm not feeling that well. The food was already there. And that's something that we try to get everybody to understand. We also want to be passionate. I'm very passionate about what I do. And I think that has made me more successful with this IN.FORM class because people see the passion I have and the passion in helping them and wanting them to feel better. And so when they become more passionate about their health, they are more excited to do this program and to be with all of us and do it together. Definitely we want to be positive. Everyone needs to be positive in this program. Yes, we're going to have down days, but that's why we're there. We're all there to lift everybody else up as a group. Persistent, we're definitely persistent. We have to keep going. Even if we have that bad day, we have to tell them they have to keep going. And that is also why I think this group setting works, because it's getting the other people to be persistent with them. Powerful, I just think we're all powerful anyway. Our body hears everything that we say every day. So our mind and words are very powerful, and that's what I try to give to everybody is something that is positive to go home with, but that is the power that we have over our group, okay? And definitely be purposeful. We are here with a purpose. We all need to be together and on the same track. So everyone has a purpose, and that, I guess, maybe can be also their goals for what they want to do with this program, but make sure everyone knows what their purpose is and why they're there. I also have everybody know pages 60 and 90, and if you ask anyone in my IN.FORM classes, they know those pages because page 60 is all the cravings. So they need to know what their options are when coming into this class, if they're craving chocolate and sweets or whatever it may be. So I will even print that page out and give that to them so they can hang it on their fridge. So do this instead of that. I think that is something that they need to know week 1. But I also love page 90. I expect a lot out of myself, and I expect a lot out of myself in the fact that I need to give a good class to these people. But that means I'm also expecting a lot out of my group. So some of my IN.FORM partners here have called me a little demanding. And yes, I can be that way, but that's because I demand a lot out of myself. So page 90 is all about our excuses, and I want them to look at that page and say, this is not acceptable. There's no reasons for why we're going to keep falling off the bandwagon or having issues. So that is very important, okay? When it comes down to education, I am someone who, yes, has become a naturopathic doctor, and that was something important to me. But education is beyond, I think, what necessarily happens in this class, because I am going in and researching things before these classes happen. I'm finding articles out of newspapers. I'm finding articles out of magazines. I am really explaining products and how they work. And if you're someone who isn't sure about all of our products, at least go in and research the ones that are in the book before you're talking about them. And sometimes I'm always bringing in other products too, like the gums and the mints that they're allowed to have. Using our toothpaste, especially for when it's toxins week, which is week 3. I always do a week where I bring in chlorophyll and let them try chlorophyll. They love having things that they can touch, that they can smell. Peppermint oil is something I like to use, or Thai food one week to pass around. They love being able to touch and smell and see and have that for them. I also am very interactive with them. With that being said, Oils Week is a good example. It's week 9, I believe, and it's all about the essential oils. And I have them come in, and we either allow them to make an Epsom salt mixture with an oil after they learn about them, make a spray that they like for helping with cravings, or they can make a body wash with some sunshine concentrate. So, you know, they get to go home with something one week, and that really makes them kind of feel special, and they got to create it themselves, so it's personalized to them. One week I will bring in someone that helps them do a little version of yoga so they can learn something that they can do on their own. We do also one week something with meditation so that they are able to learn how to calm themselves or get themselves out of a rut with either eating or their emotions. And the other thing with education is show everyone why our program is better. I can't tell you how many people that I have that have done other programs that begin with a W, and they come back and tell me how this program is so much different, how they actually feel special. They feel like they're in a group of friends, that they're being listened to, and that people actually care about them, that they're not just there talking to a bunch of strangers. And the other part is, too, as an instructor, we're talking a lot, but we also have to learn to be good listeners. And I think that sometimes we're in the spotlight with the program, and we're not listening enough. So we have to be good listeners sometimes and make sure that we're just letting them sometimes vent to us. Beyond the book prizes. I am someone who gives a ticket for showing a completed food journal every week. And that ticket, I have them put their name on it. It goes in a jar. And I do give a giveaway every 4 weeks. That keeps them motivated with their food journals, and they think it's so fun. And their gift in every 4 weeks that I do it is going to be something like a bottle of silver is one of my favorite things to give away. But then I educate them on what silver can do. And I'll tell you, at the end of that class, of course, they're buying silver from me. But that's just something that also shows them how they're appreciated and how much that's what, you know, makes them happy to be there. Games. I have created bingo cards. I have created my own version of the pyramid game to help have a fun week, so it's not all business, so to speak. They really enjoy that. They have fun, and they're laughing, and it kind of takes maybe stuffiness apart or away from the class. And then food. Now, I am someone who likes to give them an option every week to try. So I will make a little appetizer. I will make a different type of shake for them. And it's little size. It's not like I'm making a 4-course meal for them. But, you know, we have these people who aren't eating for an hour or two before they're coming in to do their weigh-in. So I think that they should be able to have something after they're finally doing their weigh-in. But then they're able to try new recipes and change something that maybe they never even thought they would like. Spaghetti squash is one. People are like, I don't know how to cook it. I don't know what to do. And that helps to get them kind of out of their box a little bit. I think it helps them a lot when they're new. And usually week 10 or 11, I'll even do a family dinner week, as I call it, where we have potluck. Everyone brings a dish, and we sit down, and we actually have a dinner together, and we have our class that way, just to change the atmosphere a little bit. I will tell you, you need to have fun with this. If you can tell by my personality at all, I'm not someone who takes myself too seriously. I tend to have a goofy side. But with that being said, I just don't want people to get bored. As soon as people get bored, they tend to show up as often, or they're not really participating and stuff like that. So I really try to have fun with these people and learn what makes them laugh or what makes them happy. And the last thing I have to say is always leave them hanging. I always give them some type of, inclination or a little bit of bait as to what's going to happen the following week or what's going to be exciting about the next week. So if you always leave them on that little note, it's kind of like watching your favorite soap opera. Oh my gosh, what's going to happen next? That's what grabs them, and that's what they're excited about, and that's what makes them want to come the following week. So there you go, Terry. There's my little spiel for today.
Oh my goodness, I thought that was awesome. Thanks, Kimberly. Thanks for giving us those.
Great.
Yeah, awesome topics. Definitely, if you're on the call and webinar and listening to this, hope you jot down some notes. We generally talk about things very generally, but this was so specific, nitty-gritty, day in, day out type things. I hope you gathered some good information. I've gathered some things. I'm writing things down as you were speaking, Kimberly. So once again, thank you very much. Good insights, things that we could probably apply today. I mean, that's really, really good things. Thanks again. Awesome.
No problem.
Yes, stay great out there and go Chiefs. Awesome. We have someone else here that we've got hailing from the great state of Wisconsin, and she's actually been involved with IN.FORM quite heavily, and I don't get to work with her personally, but I work with all the southern states. But recently, her word has been going around, her actual name is preceding herself as far as doing very well with the IN.FORM program altogether. I sit next to Mr. Scott Terry, and in between him and Ms. Shandy, and she also, they just speak so highly of all the things we're doing. I said, we gotta find out what it's all about. So Ms. Tess, are you there on the phone call with us?
I am, but now I'm really blushing and now I'm nervous.
You're great. Go ahead, talk to us.
Thank you. Actually, September was my 1-year anniversary as an IN.FORM coach, and I have to say that I have been quite successful with IN.FORM. I currently am teaching 2 classes a week, one in each of them in a different town because I live right between 2 towns. And I also, like Kimberly, I teach another class, usually bi-monthly, that is an extension of IN.FORM that just goes a little bit more into depth into things to help people learn a little bit more about the foods they eat and that sort of thing. Keeps them interested, keeps them on track, and they can come in and weigh in and still be a part of a group. So I really love IN.FORM. I'm passionate about it because I've seen it change so many lives in so many ways. And I know Scott and Shandy probably talk about me because I share that with them, and I usually have some tears because it really does affect me. My very first IN.FORM class last fall was major impact on me as I saw people's health change, and that was just the driving force for me to continue to grow my business with IN.FORM. So, like Kimberly, I think she and I actually have some kindred spirit in how we conduct our classes, and I really enjoyed listening to her speak, and I made some notes as well. I really think one of the things that's the most important part of IN.FORM is to engage your participants in the conversation. There's power in community, and it's one of the reasons why IN.FORM really works. When you look at the study of human social genomics, you see that the peer-to-peer groups are a powerful model, and there's an uptake in efficacy when you activate these groups. So a lot of people ask me, well, how do you do that? Because when you're first starting out a group, a lot of people, I'm sure some of you coaches out there experience this, where the first couple of weeks people just sort of stare at each other and they're kind of nervous. And I think each group that I do, it's different because, of course, the personalities are different, the dynamics are different. So become the conversation starter. You might start out with the conversation by maybe relating a story of your own or applying the lesson that you're discussing to yourself or to experiences in your family. And then ask questions. Be sure to engage your participants, and you don't want to put them on the spot and make them feel uncomfortable. So as you learn more about them, you begin to develop a sense of which questions to ask which participants. In the beginning, keep it rather light so that no one's uncomfortable. And as you're directing conversations toward a participant, you might think about which ones are willing to share particular subjects, but make sure if it's something personal that they've shared with you and that you check with them first so that you don't betray their confidence. And also, just like Kimberly, do fun things that get everyone involved. Games, activities, handing out raffle tickets and contests, but do things that encourage those smiles and those laughters, because that starts to loosen up those bonds that make everyone feel a little uncomfortable or that they don't know each other. And as I said before, be kind of patient, because it does sometimes take several weeks for participants to feel comfortable with each other. But what I really love to do from the very get-go is I will set on the table some conversation starters, because in the beginning of our classes, I have a little room that I take my participants into to do their weigh-in and their measuring, and it's a place where they can feel comfortable to share with me how their week is going on a more private level. And as they go back out and they sit at the table and have their shakes, I usually have something on the table that will get them talking. And it might be something as simple as a recipe or a few recipes. It might be some products that we've talked about. And it could even be some copies of some studies, some more in-depth information based on the resources from the last lesson that we studied to kind of help them review, but also get them discussing it. And what I really love is that by the second week, I'm already having to interrupt the conversation when I come out of the room from getting everybody weighed in, because they're actively discussing and laughing and getting to know each other and building friendships. And I really feel that that is part of IN.FORM's success. I have had many of my students now in the past year come back and repeat classes because they tell me they do so much better in the group setting. So I really encourage you to get those groups going and get that sharing and that conversation going, because I believe it does make a difference. Number two, what I really believe helps my groups is to help them set their goals, because we are asking them in the beginning or at the end of each module to do goal setting. We're teaching them about SMART goals and what they mean. And then for homework, you know, oftentimes we might think about just sending them home to set their goals themselves. Well, I know myself, I'm more likely to set that goal, to even actually think about it and set the goal, if I kind of have some accountability. So I encourage my participants to set their goals while they're in the class. Now, the first couple of weeks, I kind of go easy on them. I like them to set their goals and maybe just share it with someone they've made a friend with or that's their neighbor in the group. But by the second or third week, I've made a goal chart for them, and I'm asking them to set a SMART goal for the week, just one that they would like to accomplish. And I want it to be very specific. I want it to follow the SMART goal guidelines. And then we write it on the chart. And then we also start to discuss each week if they met that SMART goal. And they begin to open up. They'll talk about if they met it, what roadblocks they might have ran into, or if it was easier. Sometimes they will say, you know, I did really good, but I want to get this solid, so I'm going to set it again for the next week. That allows each one of my participants in the group to encourage the other ones and to celebrate the successes. And sometimes they have some great tips to offer these individuals as they're setting their goals, things that helped them. So that sharing really comes into play again. And then I will use something like stickers or small prizes or a raffle ticket for our monthly drawings for rewards for setting the goal and for meeting the goal. I also use private Facebook groups and emails to check in with my groups each week. And I make sure that I know what their goals are so that I can encourage them throughout the week. And I also ask, like for instance on social media and our Facebook private groups, I ask the other participants to make sure that they chime in and encourage each other as I'm encouraged them. And that helps get everybody engaged in the group and the goal setting, because there's some accountability that happens there, and people just do better when they have that accountability. I also, number 3, I think it's really important as the coach, as the facilitator of the education that you're presenting that week, is to realize that every one of your participants learns just a little bit differently. So as you're preparing for your classes, it's really important to plan so that you can make sure that you meet each one of these requirements. For instance, some people are very much auditory learners, and they're going to listen, they're going to learn really well by just listening to the presentation that you're giving to them. But other people have other ways they learn best. For instance, some are visual. So, you know, your IN.FORM slides can be a great tool for those visuals. And finding videos, I like to use, for sure, Nature Sunshine website. If you go under each product, most of them have resource tabs, and many of them have videos to go along with that. And so you can add those as well. And sometimes you can find some useful things on YouTube. And along with the visual, handouts are very, very helpful for these people. And I provide a binder for my students so that they can put these handouts in there each week, and as well as recipes that I give to them each week too. Other people are actually very tactile, and they learn better if they're actually taking notes or they're touching things. So I always make sure that I have note-taking supplies available for my class, because a lot of your participants, if you're teaching an evening class, they're usually coming from work or from taking care of their children, getting supper for their family, and lots of times they might show up and forget to bring note-taking supplies. And you know, I know it sounds a little bit grade school, but I find my groups love stickers. And so the stickers are another tactile thing. And so I give stickers out for various things, for answering questions, for goal setting, for participating in the conversation, for homework, many, many different ideas that you can come up with too. But I also like to bring, like Kimberly, I like to bring things to my class that engage them in touching and reading and thinking. So I bring samples of products, and as we talk about them, they can pass those around, and that gets that tactile thing going. They become comfortable with it. It's not just a memory in their mind. They actually have that physical connection with it. And along with that, I also talk, you know, as we're talking about foods, it's really important to understand that as these people who are learning from you, they may be hearing about some foods for the first time that they don't know about. So, you know, we're in a society that everyone is so used to fast food or processed foods. And a lot of people shop in mainstream grocery stores, and they never venture over to the natural food section in their grocery stores. So as we're teaching them about organic foods or grass-fed food, meats and dairies, and if we're teaching them about clean alternatives for some of their favorite foods, I like to bring those, some samples of those to my classes so people can actually see that they're a real thing, and they can read the labels, and if possible too, I will make some sample dishes for them to try. And again, like Kimberly, nothing that's too difficult, sometimes an appetizer or a treat, always a different shake recipe that incorporates some whole foods in those as well. But doing this, you know, that helps people who are visual learners, helps people who are tactile learners, because they will remember these foods, and they will have more of a tendency to go and shop for them and to integrate them into their life. And I think that it's really important that you know your material before you teach a class. It's when you, just like Kimberly said, when you know your material, it frees you up to share the passion in teaching the class that you have. Because I know that if you are an IN.FORM coach out there, you became one because what IN.FORM does, how it helps people, has excited you. And so taking that time each week to know your materials, to have those preparations for the different types of learners, to have those fun things available, that really comes across in confidence as you're teaching your class, and it really helps your passion to shine through. And when you are passionate, your students become passionate as well. When you show how much you care about their health and the changes they're making and how exciting that is to you, it becomes exciting to them. And you can use a lot of, Nature Sunshine has a lot of resources for learning more about the materials each week. For instance, the resource lists in our coaches manual. You can look up studies yourself. NSP blogs can have some really great information. Of course, our monthly Education Week, like we just finished up, or you can go to the Education Week page on Nature Sunshine and put in some filters to find information specifically to what you're looking for. You know, our IN.FORM coaches page itself is full of wonderful resources, including, you know, very specific information from Dr. Pacheco and Dr. Lamb. So I really encourage you to make sure that you have all those things in place going into the class so that you come forward showing that confidence, because when you have that confidence in what you're teaching, then your participants, they have confidence in what they're learning. When you believe it works for them, they believe it works for them, and it can make a huge difference in their mindset. I could probably talk about another half hour because I really do love this program, and I really have seen such wonderful, wonderful things. But if you have questions, I'd be happy to see if I can answer those for you.
Okay, we'll get you on that test, and I tell you what, you have stood up to all of the praise that I've been receiving and hearing from my coworkers. So thank you very, very much. Awesome. Good information. Guys, I hope you're taking notes on that. Really good things. Oh, man, I'm refreshing in my brain. Number one, make it fun, be relatable, interactive. Number two, goal setting goals for your group. Number three, find their learning styles. The stickers, I make sure I understood you right. You said stickers and not Snickers, because that becomes...
Yep, stickers. Yep. We don't want to do Snickers. Nope.
I know. That's on Terry's IN.FORM program. Not a good one. Got to knock that out. Yeah. But you know, and then you gave an extra bonus there of knowing the material. I think that's an extra bonus star. You got to remember that as well. As coaches, be familiar with the things you're sharing. I mean, they're coming to you because they know you to be the coach, or at least the expert for their information, and to help them out with that would be awesome. So good. Oh man, this is really good information. Tess, thanks again for sharing some good information with us. Yeah. And hang on the line when we go for other things. So let me just do a quick summary here. We had Kim give us some ideas about support and having that support as a group setting. Education was one of our major key points too. Make sure people are well informed about information, and then even going beyond the book and giving some insights there. So we've had a couple of sets of really good information pieces, successes, and some tips to share with you. But last and not least, definitely, we have a gentleman that I've asked to come on and share some things as well. He's from the great state of Tennessee, hailing from Nashville area, and very rarely do we have a gentleman on our call to share about IN.FORM, but I tell you, he's a wealth of knowledge. I've had an opportunity to work with him a lot in the southern states, and so I've asked Mr. Bart James to share some insights with us. Bart, are you there?
I'm here, Terry. Can you hear me fine?
I can hear you great, sir. Go ahead and talk to us.
Excellent. Thank you so much for having me on the call today. I'm really grateful to have an opportunity to speak to all the coaches, which are the teachers that are going out and doing the deal. I also appreciate being on with the other panelists today with Tess and Kimberly. I've shared some great information, and in fact, I've actually employed a lot of what you guys have talked about in my classes with great success. Even just the whole visual pieces, I actually had my IN.FORM participants last week in class actually acting out and standing up and acting out insulin and blood sugar and a resistant cell and then a receptive cell, and using a bag of IN.FORM protein to have them walk around, helping them to understand the relationship between insulin and glucose. So I encourage you to even get them up and get them moving. But I loved everything that I've heard so far, and it's been very inspiring to hear all of this information. And I want to continue on with that to the best of my ability, but I want to talk about something very specific that I feel like is very important to help you maintain the fire for something that gets you inspired. And really, my first kind of key piece I'd like to talk about is actually disciplining your disappointment. And the reason I want to hit this is because I know I even have coaches that are part of my organization that are going to have challenged participants, that are going to be dealing with people that are having a hard time making movement sometimes when everything that we're teaching them is, I mean, it's truth. It's clinical, it's proven, and it's something that we know can change their lives. But the hard part about sometimes dealing with IN.FORM participants that are having a hard time is we all of a sudden start questioning ourselves. We start questioning the information. We start questioning, well, am I doing the right thing, or am I working with this person in the right way? And so I want to kind of give you some points to kind of help maybe strengthen your own resolve, strengthen your own belief in yourself, because the biggest thing that I think that I've learned by teaching IN.FORM is that I have to remember that I was in the seats that these people are sitting in when they're in the course with me. I also have to remember that even though I am their teacher in this regard, I have to teach from the perspective that I am actually having a conversation with myself in front of people versus teaching to them like I am some kind of expert and that I hold a certain amount of knowledge over them that maybe they haven't acquired. And that, I think, makes the course more real. You know, I have down weeks, and I will go in and share that with my course. I say, you know what, I had a stressful day, and we homeschool 2 kids, my wife and I. I'm also back and forth between multiple locations teaching the courses. So for me, some days we might have a hard day, and if I have a hard day, I hold myself accountable, and I'll actually go in to tell my group, I had a hard day, this is what I did, can you see how important it is to know this information? And I think that if you put yourself out there and you allow yourself to embrace being perfectly imperfect in front of your group, I think they will fall in love with you for the long term, because the bigger piece for me is not how far I can move them in 8 to 13 weeks of working with them. For me, the most important thing is, will this person be there with me holding hands on the path 10 to 20 years from now? And will they be able to be a lamp to shine the light onto somebody else? Those are the ways that I think about when I go into my class. I also go into the class thinking in terms of maybe that I'm some kind of addiction counselor or an addiction therapist, because I realize when people come into this class, they have been trained. Every single one of them have been trained to look at their weight and think that that's who they are. They've been trained to think calories in, calories out. They've been trained to think you have to bust your butt working out, exercising 5 days a week. They've also been shamed from their body, their style. I mean, it's rampant right now. And then we have a weight loss industry in this country that, you know, nets north of $20 billion a year, that 6 in 10 people actually end up worse on. So think about when you have people coming into IN.FORM course, this is a recovery course. Not only are they recovering their health, they're recovering truth, and they're learning how to filter out the noise that is there in the world that is chasing their dollars, that is just trying to get something quick without delivering any substance. Why do we have such a high repeat consumer base with IN.FORM? It's because we don't have to do that. We don't have to be flashing the pan. We don't have to throw out, you know, the next biggest thing, the next greatest thing. All we have to do is practice what Hippocrates told us, you know, 3,000 years ago. Let food be your medicine. We're doing that with what we're teaching them about food, and we're doing that with what we're teaching them about the supplements. So if you can learn to discipline your own disappointment with not putting your success rate in the hands of your participants because you're going to get let down. You need to put your success rate in your own hands by practicing what you preach and staying committed to the system, and knowing that if somebody is having a challenge moving through something, that's okay. If we can meet them where they're at, and if they only lose 1 pound through the entire course, that should be celebrated. We don't need to put anybody in a kind of a shame model when we're teaching something like this, because even the slightest change in awareness, if they can get one thing, and that's they eat their protein first thing in the morning, and that was the big thing that they got, and they were able to at least commit to that, imagine what that's going to do, getting their metabolism started up, giving them as much as a 30% boost first thing in the morning, and bringing their body out of starvation mode. That is an act of self-love. And that is something that we should really congratulate somebody for. So the way that I discipline my own self in this is that the little things, the very minute details, those are the most amazing changes that I think people can make, because that means if they can do that little thing, everything else in their life is going to start building around that. So that would be one of my first tips. The second is going to be focused on repetition. Now, humans, naturally, we need to hear something 6 to 7 times before we can even retain over 50% of what we've heard. So I want you to think about that when you're going through this course with people on a week-to-week basis. What they're hearing, they're not going to retain. They may get 1 or 2 things. So what I do at the beginning of each class is I learn how to weave all this stuff together so that they understand we are actually building a foundational path, and we're installing road signs along the way to let them know where they're at in relationship to the path. So if I'm taking them from, Module 6 to Module 7, I'll go back and spend a little bit of time, just a few minutes saying, okay, let's understand this blood sugar piece, and let's understand this insulin piece, because now when we start talking about stress this week and the effects that cortisol can have on insulin, can you understand now why it's so important that we learn to really manage our emotions and manage our stress? Because if we don't do that, we don't have a chance at correcting this other thing, because we're going to be constantly on the wheel of craving. So the reason I focus so much on repetition is that every week I go back over and I quiz my participants. I say, so why do we eat protein first in the morning? Why do we get a shake in? And then they answer it, and I'll ask them again the second week. I don't assume that anybody has mastered this information until they have put it into practice, and they have noticed how even having that breakfast makes them feel better through the day than what it did with the Pop-Tarts and donuts the day before. So I want them to have direct experience. I mean, if you think about what we're doing, we are in the business of healing. We're not in the business of making people lose 100 pounds in 13 weeks. That's not what we're doing. We're not in the business of giving people fast results so that all of a sudden they think that we're the best healer out there. That's not what our job is. Our job is to be a pillar of strength where they can actually find their own confidence through our experience with this course. So if they don't have the confidence to do it, they can borrow yours. Why? Because you practice it. You know it, and you've had direct experience with it. So I encourage you, to continue focusing on repeating a little bit each week. And if you have to get them engaged, because I'll ask them, I'm saying, are you getting this? Do you understand it? And they're like, no, I still don't get it. And I say, okay, well, let's stand up, let's do a demonstration, and then we just act it out. Then afterwards, everybody's engaged, everybody has a stronger understanding of what we're talking about and how it's another inescapable truth of dealing with the human body. So repetition is going to help you for the long term, and it's also going to make sure that everybody that you work with is going to be there and going to be loyal to you for years from now on. The third thing that I want to talk to you about is learning just to stand your ground on the path as well. So another piece of this, you're going to have to be flexible. So, the IN.FORM book gives us all the information, but I encourage you to study even more in detail about a lot of other health models out there. That way you can have a way to understand how to bring it back to what we're teaching. Be able to dissect what's going on in other plans. Be able to dissect, if somebody is living a vegan lifestyle and they're not getting enough protein, be able to help them understand how that affects their immune system. I don't disagree with it, but I also know that every vegan that I have had in my class is craving gluten. They're craving bread. They're attempting to get that protein somewhere else, and they don't even realize that they're doing it. They don't also realize they're not getting enough B vitamins in their daily diet, because a lot of that is going to be found in higher amounts through your protein and your dairy. So, the thing is study these other things that are going on in the country and learn how to be flexible and learn how to be adaptable in your environment so that you can be able to connect with somebody and bring them back to it. The other piece on it, when you're standing your ground on the path, is that you can identify what is fluff. You can identify what is taking advantage of somebody, you know, especially in your class, you know, because they're going to research this stuff. They're going to go out and they're going to look at what other doctors are saying that are out in the country. You know, I mean, you know how it is. We've been dealing with it for years with being part of Nature Sunshine. If Dr. Oz talks about something, you know, not that we hate Dr. Oz, but if he talks about something, all of a sudden it becomes the new exciting thing, and then we have to undo everything that was done because the people we're working with have been trained to think that somehow their answers are in the next pill, which is not the case. Their answers are in the next meal. So we've got to remember that. So the fact that we are clinically tested and clinically proven, you can't find that anywhere else. That gives you strength. The fact that we have proven what we did thousands of years ago as a culture to sustain our health is actually working in the modern age, that's a big deal. I want you to think about this one thing. 100 years ago, I had to teach you about the possibilities of what would happen if you ate a bunch of this stuff. It would make you sick. If you ate a bunch of sugar and a bunch of crap food, basically. Now I have to teach you about the possibilities of health. Think about how far we've come as a culture in 100 years, where used to I had to teach you about the possibility of disease. Now I have to teach my people about the possibility of health. I don't know how much stronger I can emphasize the fact that what we're doing is correcting something where we have been led astray and deceived by multiple factions out there dying for the health care of this country. So the fact that we know that's happened, the fact that we understand that there are forces at play that we're always going to be in a battle with, I choose to bring that back to a personal level for my IN.FORM people and say, ultimately, the battle that we're fighting is the battle of your belly. If we can win the battle of the belly, what's going to happen to your health? And if I can get them to experience that by these road signs that I talk about, which are your protein, which is your hydration, which is movement. I don't say exercise, I just say move. I want you to move. You know, setting a goal, understanding why we eat veggies, understanding why we limit fruit, understanding why we don't want sugar, understanding why we control our stress, understanding how emotion affects our health. If we get those pieces and we understand those are our road signs that help us identify if we're on the right path or not, how could you not be successful? And so that's the reason that I use these three principles to kind of guide me in what I'm doing. And I hope that in some way this is going to strengthen your own resolve, help you overcome maybe some of the own obstacles that maybe you may be seeing in your own current classes right now, or your current neighborhoods. Is just understand it has nothing, don't take anything that we do in this personal. Understand that it's just your job to be able to find the little doorways that you can walk through with somebody to get those little changes that will actually build and change their life for the long term. We've got the rest of their life to get them at the proper weight. We've got the rest of their life to help them learn. We don't have to do it all in 13 weeks. We just have to focus and work with them, just like the other ladies were saying, meet them where they're at, help them be accountable, and help them understand that this is about them and their journey, and all we're doing is help facilitate the information. So with that said, I really appreciate the opportunity to come on today. Terry, thank you so much.
Bart, I think, oh man, amazing, amazing stuff. Guys, I hope you grab some information there from Bart, some really good information, some things I've heard a time or two from him before that just resonate again and again. I think the point of discipline your disappointment is amazing, along with focus on that repetition idea. I mean, I can't hear it enough. And then, of course, standing your ground when it comes to what you know and what you believe with IN.FORM could really stand the test of time against those other things that are out there. That's really good information. Guys, man, I'm beaming over here knowing that the information that you've heard will do very well for yourselves and for your groups. So that's very exciting. So I think you've had three marvelous presenters and trainers here giving their top 3 success tips. So I guess if I were to add this up right, you got about 9 good tips you could probably apply. And I didn't give them any criteria to say only talk about these things, but some of them harmonize with each other, and a lot of them are beneficial to you. So really good points to share here with you guys. So what I want to do now, though, is take a few questions. I know there's some people that have some thoughts and some ideas and want to know exactly how they can go about using these different things, but they have some questions in regards to here. So hopefully you three presenters are still on the line, and I do want to ask one of the questions that came through that looks very, very cool. A lot of good comments have come through. One of the questions happens to be, it looks like here, make sure I got this right, on the goals. What does a goal chart look like? I think Tess brought this up, so may I address it with Tess first. What does a goal chart look like, and how is it structured?
Oh, actually I keep it very simple. I buy a poster board, and the size of the poster board is just going to depend on the size of your class, you know, how big you need it. And I just lay out a grid of squares, and across the top I put the weeks, you know, module 1, 2, 3, etc. And down the left side, I put the participants' names. And then each week there's a square that we can just write the goals in. And it's big enough we can write in it. And when they meet the goals, we can check it off, put a sticker on there. And if they don't quite meet the goal, we actually make notes in there that the participant shared. And it helps everyone to feel a part of the process and to be more accountable. And it's not super stressful. Some people might think that the participants would be uncomfortable. I actually find that they wait. Some of them, we do it at the end of class, and some of them who might be ready to shoot out the door don't want to miss the goal setting once we get it started, because they really do learn that it helps keep them on track.
That's good. That's really, really good. I think it's funny, most people have an intimidation of even setting goals because the likelihood of failure scares them from even beginning, and that's not a good thing. So hopefully we can overcome that, and your practice of actually putting it up there as a visible hopefully helps them out to achieve their goal. That's good. That's really cool. I've heard this statement, 95% of all goals that are written down are achieved. 95% of all goals that are written down are achieved. And that's pretty interesting stats. It's somehow putting pen to paper or putting it, what sounds like for you, to a chart. So that's really cool. Here's another question that came through. What is, maybe this is for all three of you, what's a minimum amount of people to have in a class? This is kind of a general statement, but what are class sizes looking for? Maybe all three of you. What do they look like for you?
My goal is to always have 5 people. I will do it for smaller groups, and I do some one-on-one FaceTime for some people that live out of the city. But my goal is to always at least have 5 in my class.
Okay, perfect. Now it's Kimberly, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. What about you, Bart? Tess, any ideas?
Yeah, my minimum is typically 5, but I will not usually go over 9 to 10 people. So that's kind of the sweet spot, I feel like, when working with people, is in that 5 to 10 range.
Okay, good.
Yeah. I generally have between 8 and 12, and I'm kind of with Bart. I feel like that between 8 and 10 is really the sweet spot too. I have had upwards to 15, and I start to find that it's harder for me to spend that individual time with each student before class starts as we're weighing in. But I also, I obviously like to have 5, but I will do one-on-ones. I do I can do weekly lunch sessions with someone who just can't make a group, and I can make that class happen in about 15 to 20 minutes so that they can get back to lunch, and so I have done that. So I really try to accommodate my schedule and the people who want to take the classes as much as I can.
That's good. Awesome, thank you. And here's one that gets really kind of nitty-gritty. I like this one. How do you deal with a client that is not taking any supplements, only the shakes, and then they feel disappointed that they are not maybe losing the weight or are not getting the change in the body or their habits as they thought they would? Do you confront them about their different parts there or their accountability? How do you address someone who maybe not be following the program fully?
Hey, Terry, it's Bart. I've actually had this happen several times where people, which is the reason I use the IN.FORM program as a soft product launch. I don't go in just guns a-banging tempting to, sell a bunch of products. What I do is I don't try to divert that person in any way. I just let them be who they are. And through the process of taking them through the course, when they start seeing other people make movements, because I will do this about every, usually around the 4th week or so, 5th week, when we finally start some averages that are, or start to see some averages that are showing up because people have had an opportunity to be on the program long enough at that point. I won't give people's individual numbers, but what I'll do is I'll say, hey, just wanted to, share some movement that we have. We've got, this person has lost, however many inches. They've lost a few pounds. They've dropped their metabolic age, and all they're doing is, they've got their food down, and they're taking this one supplement to help, or this one supplement to help, or they're doing this shake. So what I do is I just let them be where they're at, encourage them to get the food pieces down, because starting their day off with 30 grams of protein, however they can get it, the easiest way is a smoothie. There's no question about that. But let them just be where they are. When they start seeing the results coming in from other people, they're going to be willing to open up and have a conversation. And they have a right to be skeptical because they're afraid they're just going to get sold something that doesn't work. This is somebody who's been taken advantage of at their weakest by another program somewhere along the line. And we have to allow that person to grow, and we got to love on them just like we would love on a kid who's having a hard day. Just let them be where they're at. Let them trust you by not trying to sell them anything, and let them start seeing what's going on with the other people.
Okay, I like that. Thanks, Bart. Tess, Kimberly, any thoughts on that?
This is Tess. When I am preparing for a class, I definitely try to encourage my participants to order the kits, and I explain. I usually do a sort of an introductory evening about 2 weeks before I start a class, and at that time I go through and explain exactly what the IN.FORM program is, and I have the kit there, and I explain to them briefly how the products work. But you will have generally, it's not unusual to have at least one person in every class who's not doing all of the products. And for some people, it may be a financial issue. For others, it may be that they don't like to swallow pills. I've come across that quite a bit. And so I agree with Bart. You don't pressure them. You allow them to just be where they are. And I also do a weekly traveling trophy, a weekly traveling trophy with my groups. And so as we're celebrating the most fat loss or the most weight loss, I always make sure that I'm explaining how that happens, how those numbers are changing, what products affect that, what part of the program is affecting that. So that can encourage them. And then I'm always open to that conversation during the weigh-in time to privately discuss, those things, why their numbers aren't moving. And just gently explain to them at that time how, the other products have been shown to help, really lay that out to them. And then try to help them find a solution if it is financial or if it is that they don't swallow pills well, to be the best coach that I can be to help meet their needs where they are.
Awesome, awesome. Kimberly, any thoughts on that one?
I totally agree with everything they said.
All right. Put the amen stamp on there. Love it. Okay.
Amen.
Well, this has kind of been all these questions have kind of led to a different, similar thought, and this comes down to, which I thought would be, just happening anyway, in regards to price. The question comes up, do you actually charge for your classes? And then, if so, do issues come up between your participants about the price of all the things altogether, both the class and the product? So let's start at the top there again with you, Bart, and we'll work Bart, Tess, and then Kimberly.
Yes, I do charge for mine, but I understand that this is going to be kind of for people starting out who've never done anything like this before or haven't been a practitioner or whatnot. I'm going to have a hard time saying that they need to start off charging in their classes because, first off, they haven't had a practice, so they haven't built up their reputation yet. They're going to be able to make money through product sales and moving the product, because ultimately we do want to see everybody getting paid at the end of the day, and it's just a reality of business, and you are in business, so that the goal is, to make money in that way. But the reason that I charge is because I know for people to meet with me through the process of the course is way cheaper than what it would ever cost them to meet with me one-on-one. And that's the way that I utilize this. So I charge because I know that there's a value that I place on my own services, and this is just me personally. There's a value I place on my own services and the information because I've had a lifetime with this company so far, and I've got a lifetime of information that I know is going to be able to help them, and so that's a personal thing to me. Now, I do teach free classes that teach a little bit about what we would work with in IN.FORM and kind of use that as a recruiting mechanism into the class. So what I may do is I may take a subject like weight loss or stress and do, maybe a 30-minute class on that, because if they don't know me, that gets them the ability to know me. They know that I'm not full of it, that I actually know what I'm talking about. So that's the way that I work that. But if I were to train somebody who's brand new, hasn't been in practice for a long time, I would not encourage them to charge per se for like a private practitioner fee. I think it would be better if they started off with a free module and use that to generate product sales and revenue through that, and let that be their building platform. Everybody has to start from somewhere, and so that's how I would handle that. But of course, it may be different in other parts of the country.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Tess there?
Yes, yes.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I do charge, and one of the reasons I do that is because I do believe that when a participant pays a class fee, that they make a bigger commitment not only to me and the class, but to themselves. I have found that when I do a raffle or a drawing or I give away a free class, the people who who win those prizes generally are not as committed to the whole 13-week process as someone who has spent a little of their own money. So I don't charge a lot, but I feel like it's enough to keep the student feeling that they are responsible and committed. And I also make sure that I explain to them the overall fee, what that breaks down weekly, so that it doesn't sound overwhelming, as well as I love the way that Nature Sunshine suggests that we explain the kits as only $8 a day, because many people spend well over $8 a day running off to their local coffee shop and donut shop. So when they really break it down and they see what they're getting for that $8 a day, for instance, I explain to them if they're already taking a vitamin or a fish oil or a probiotic, right there they've saved money with the kit, because generally they're spending more money on that at their local drugstore. And I did charge from the very beginning, because I think it also gives that participant confidence that I myself am a certified coach and that my time is valuable and that I do know what I am teaching them. And I really do feel there's value in charging.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Tess. Ms. Kimberly.
Yes, I also do charge. I did not charge for my first class. I kind of called it my guinea pig class so I could get my feet wet and get comfortable with everything too. But I do charge. I charge one flat rate at the beginning of the classes, and I think it also kind of defrays some of the cost of any handouts and things that I'm giving out for every week.
Okay, awesome. Thank you all, and thank you for your questions. We have a ton of more questions, but not a ton of more time. So I thank you all for being on the call and for submitting your questions. And you three guests, Bart, Tess, and Kimberly, you guys have been amazing. Thanks for being on the call. Hasn't it been great? I mean, I'm just beaming over here, taking notes and jotting down things as questions pile in, and even comments. Guys, I'm hearing thoughts here. Thanks, Tess. Good information. Kimberly, I got to learn more about the games. And Bart, everything I need to know to start my class off tomorrow. This has been good insights that have come through here recently as I've been answering and fielding questions for you guys. So again, thanks for being on the call with us here in this webinar. And to wrap up, I want to say just a few things in regard to just reminders of our promotions and things we have going on this week. This again, if you would like a second bio tracker between October 24th through the 31st, so from Monday to Monday, you as coaches can purchase the IN.FORM bio tracker for $125. It's kind of the direct cost there for you. We're only having it at a limited basis right now. Typically, we only have it with certifying as a new coach, but we want to make it available for you coaches as well to be able to purchase one on your own. This week only, Monday to Monday, feel free to get yours. As well as October, you can feel free to start a new group. We have the start a group with five or more people and receive a $150 product credit. And then you can, of course, earn just additional credits based on how the volume is reached there in the group. So a lot of things that are happening here with just starting a group in this month of October. And then for those coaches that have already participated, you guys and many others that you know that may not be on this call, a special introductory price of $49.99 to take it again and get some more manuals there. You may want to get a refresher and have that available to you as coaches. October 31st is the extended deadline for that one. So a lot of cool things that are happening. Hope you're tons involved and sharing good information with your teams and your groups as well. Here's something else. The IN.FORM Challenge begins now. A new registration period. Sign up anytime if you like. You got 13 weeks to really get involved. Lots of prizes, awards, all that information is there given. Look at naturesunshine.com/challenge and you'll be able to see more information about the rewards and the requirements there for the IN.FORM Challenge. So all the things that are happening to help get your groups moving and going forward. I love the prizes. Being able to have good cash is good, as well as being able to travel and do some other things as well. We're adding some extra perks on also the ability of gaining good health and weight management. So a lot of fun things there. Our next webinar will be Tuesday, November the 1st, 11 a.m., same bat time, same bat channel. We'll have some good things going on there. But again, we're just glad to be here. We're excited that IN.FORM's taken off and getting you really prepared for January. Believe it or not, this is the fall season, the last 3 months of the year, and beginning January will be a great time for people's resolutions. You'll have people that are getting their minds right to better themselves in lots of categories, and getting better health is one of those. So as you prepare now, start getting your IN.FORM group started and ready, and yourself as a coach well prepared for 2017. It's coming upon us pretty soon. So again, guys, thanks for being on the call with us, this webinar, and have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.